Hi, you guys. Thank you for joining us. Man, we've been pretty consistent about once a week coming on here. Huh?
We've been pretty consistent with being consistent.
I think so. Something
I'm consistently into this.
The numbers. Okay, so take a look at the numbers. It's always intriguing when I look up the updated numbers. So the interesting thing is the active properties from last week was, and someone could correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, but it was like 46 and some change. I think 46, 30, 40, somewhere on there.
That's
right
down.
now, well, right now it's 40,
Let's take a look.
45, 70. All right, so
wow, that's quite a bit down.
So we've been trickling upwards. Well, again, I take out mobile homes out of this, so it's active.
Even double wide mobile homes.
I do not include mobile homes. Sorry, guys, in San Diego County. So that's interesting.
Man,
a lot
of my friends are disappointed.
Another interesting thing too is active properties under 700,000. Again, go to one of the previous ones. You'll see that number has actually gone up a little bit. So active detached properties under 700,000. So that numbers has trickled up a tad bit, nothing crazy, right? So it's for sure interesting. I mean, pending has gone up a little bit more. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. I still think we won't see the full effects of the interest rates until after the holidays. That's my guess.
Well, I mean, when you change the cost of borrowing for, let's look at it like, what did the Fed rate cut really affect? Credit cards, number one. Car loans, number two. Home equity lines of credit, number three. Business lines of credit. All that got into effect, and basically the overall cost of
perception too.
Perception. It is perception, but it's like the perception is everyone thought mortgage rates dropped because the Fed dropped rates, but that's the thing.
That's what people think, right? That basically when the Fed drops the rate, that the mortgage rates drop, and no one's really going to be truly proven wrong in that kind of idea. So what it does is people on the fence are like, I'm going to wait, right, until basically mortgage rate drops. They see basically the Fed drop, right, because it's across the news, and they go, okay, now the rates are better, so I need to go. Look to start buying a place. So I think a little bit of that kind of played into it.
I would say a lot of that played into it, and it doesn't help that a lot of people posted all the wrong videos saying, "Oh, Fed did this and interest rates dropped," because it's like interest rate dropped because of the Treasury. It's a 10-year Treasury that's based off of. But if you want a bigger picture, Vinnie, it's like you said, like in 4 to 6 months from now, that's when you're going to see the real effect of the rate cut, because everyone's cost of borrowing money just got lower, for car loans, for credit cards, for HELOCs, for business lines of credit. All of that just got lower. And, bold prediction, I'm predicting in November, they cut rates again. And if they cut by 50, it will be massive. If they cut by 25, it'll be minuscule. But 50, that's going to change a lot of the consumers' activity, because all of a sudden you could buy a car and get a decent rate. Your credit card went down. Your HELOC went down. Everything's going to go down. So
but that's going to be
overall, it's good for the economy.
So it was built in, right? I mean, we saw for this one right here, for the 17th of September, we started seeing kind of being built into the numbers. Probably end of August, early September.
Yeah, it was. I mean, if you go easy, the most dramatic effect was 2 weeks prior to the rate cut, is when all mortgage people, not all, but a lot of good lenders cut rates massively, because by then it's like, if you start looking at the options market, and the funny thing is, if you actually look at Vegas odds too, everyone knew the chances of 50 basis points was 78%. So you already priced it in. And that was a good time. I mean, the Friday before the rate cut was actually the best day to lock in rates that it's been in a long time.
So what are you thinking, right? I mean, because they're projected, when in December are they planning to meet or scheduling to meet?
Oh, I don't know the December. I think it's November 2nd is the next one for
Oh, it's November. I thought it was December. Okay, so November 2nd.
No, you're going to have.
So we might see basically, if basically unemployment numbers aren't the greatest, probably a change or effects to that, then maybe end of October then.
So supposedly it's between November 6th and 7th, but they may do it on the 2nd too as well. And you're talking about before an election. I'm predicting the rates are getting cut. Like that's definitely going to happen. It's like, yeah. And
So
it's overall you need that for the economy because the economy is not doing as well as everyone thinks it is, and that's like inflation is more in check now, but your prices of all your food haven't gone down. They're going to stay the same. It's just
well,
a
look,
slower rate of increasing now.
I mean, the question that I get, I mean, we just had a couple clients were getting under contract, and the debate, right, with their lender that they're working with, right, is okay, when do we lock in rates, right? And some lenders are going to say, oh, we'll
Ooh.
lock it in now, just lock it in, blah blah. Other ones are going to have a better hold on the market and say, okay, well, maybe we just locked in, we got a 30-day escrow, let's lock it in, let's give
Mhm.
ourselves another week or two, right? I mean, if someone was locking in there, they got accepted their offer today, what would be your say? Would you say lock it in now, or let's give another week or two?
It's interesting because I just got asked that before. So I am more conservative with rates move up very fast, down very slow. And if they move down, let's say, I mean, if they move down 0.125% lower than what you locked at, no one cares. And it's not really going to have a dramatic effect. But if all of a sudden you called me and I said rates went up by a quarter or 0.375, you'd be pissed. So it's like when I look at the data that went on this week, the the data actually, some of the news came out, pending home sales, they were actually up. So, that was good. Initial jobless claims, once again, they fell. Shocking. And GDP, they revised upwards from 1.4 to 1.6. Still not really the best numbers, but things are now trending upwards from all the data going out. So it's like if I was to lock something in, I would look at the economic calendar, I would see what's coming up and what's a major market mover, and then I would lock. And right now with that whole thing going on with Israel and Lebanon and all that, that's a major problem. And if Israel invades Lebanon, interest rates will drop because it will destabilize. So that's another thing. Like if your lender is following world economic events because they kind of should be, because that does affect the U.S. If Israel goes in and attacks Lebanon and does them, rates will get lower.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, no,
Sorry
again,
for
no
the
one
long
ever.
drawn out answer.
No, no,
I mean,
it
it's
makes sense.
long
So,
drawn out.
I mean, the biggest thing is first talking to your lender, get ballpark numbers, right? Of course, you want ballpark numbers. I just taught a class the other day, and I mean, one of the things I kind of reminded people, basically, numbers make you think, emotions make you act, right? So if you go to open house, right, and again with the new rule change, you have to have affiliations, that kind of stuff, agency. But anyways, if you go to open house and you see a property and you fall in love with it, right? Now in your head, you're like, I need to buy a property like this, or I need to buy this property. You might buy above your means, right? Compared to talking to a lender, having the ballpark numbers of where you want to sit on. Rates can change, of course, but at least knowing there, and then talking to your realtor and knowing what's doable at my price point. Is this going to be the best way for me, right? I mean, having truly a game plan, especially with basically this market right now, understanding, okay, well, what's basically list to sold? What I mean is the condo market, I mean, slower than the detached market? Are the reserves good with all the stuff that's happening with basically all these complexes, right? I mean, there's
Does the
so many.
insurance complex have insurance and is it expiring? And have you bothered to check on it as a listing agent before you get under contract to find out the insurance is expiring and it's increasing or there's pending assessments? I see that all the time where it's like, certain agents don't do their homework and then they list the property and then they wonder why you have a problem financing it because the insurance is going to expire or there's pending litigation or there's pending assessments that no one's decided yet. Those are key things you really, it's so important to hire the right realtor so that you don't get screwed as a consumer. And
Yeah.
you really want your agent to be asking these questions because you don't want that 2 weeks into an escrow.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many moving parts. Understand the game plan, understand what you're looking to accomplish. If you guys have any particular questions about your situation, reach out to myself or David. I know I don't say that too much, but we're here to help. David works across the U.S. I work in, I mean, mostly Southern California, but I have connections all over. So reach out if you have any particular questions. Any last words of wisdom you want to throw out, David?
Miami Dolphins Super